Oh, look at that nice little white hair. What's up, girl? Oh, you out. And we are embracing the white hairs. You know what I'm saying? I really debated if I wanted to record in the room because I wanted to give you guys a view of this homestay. But to be quite honest, I have spent the last week in my room. So I really feel like it's only authentic if you get to be in here with me. Just jump right into my little trip update. What has Bali been like? Well, where do I even begin? I flew from Dharamshala to New Delhi to Bali. The airports in India, just, I don't know, dude. We have beef. It was difficult. It was annoying because I was flying internationally. They didn't let me check in until 4 hours before the flight, but I arrived to New Delhi at like 2. I originally wanted to do stuff in New Delhi, but given the fact that I had an injury, basically just hung around the airport for fucking hours before I was allowed to check in, go past the security checkpoint where I took a shower at the airport. No joke. The New Delhi airport does have some badass lounges, and one of the lounges is like a spa. And so I paid 1,000 rupees to take a shower because I had been traveling since the morning and I was going to travel all night. The flight, man, I flew with Vistara. They feed you. The flight itself was really long and there was a lot of motherfucking turbulence. It was kind of scary. I got picked up by a taxi driver that I booked through Booking. Show up to this wonderful homestay with this wonderful family. My feet were just really swollen and my wound was in a lot of pain. I just started thinking, could it be infected? I just wanted to give it some time for the swelling to come down. Next day, wound looks pretty bad. Wound is hurting and I'm like, fuck, I think I need to go to the doctor. I let my homestay family know that I needed help with that. The homestay administrator, her dad, took me to an urgent care. At the urgent care, they told me that my foot was very much indeed infected. It had developed a layer of slow. I don't even know if I'm saying that correctly. Slow. She says it differently. I fucking wrote it down. I had a hard time understanding what it is. What's funny is I had Googled before even arriving at the urgent care, like, what could this be? I had 3 lacerations to my foot. One that was pretty significant and then 2 small ones. The 2 small ones had gotten bigger. They had this layer. It was like a thick just layer of skin. And I was like, it's in pain. So I don't think this is skin that's growing. I think this might be bacteria. So the urgent care doctor said that it was slow, or it could be slow. Girl, let me tell you, she didn't tell me shit. She just said, I think this is slow. I'm reading is from Google, okay? Slow is a non-viable tissue that occurs as a byproduct of the inflammatory process. It can delay healing and increase the risk of infection. I was like, yeah, I think that's what I Googled too, girl. Like, what should we do? And she was like, I think it's infected. And I was like, okay, what are we going to do about that? And she was like, let's get you on antibiotics. And I was like, okay. So she got me on some antibiotics and she was like, we got to get that out. She bandaged me up. She was pretty pissed off that the doctors in India didn't do wound care at all and just kind of dismissed my injury as something minimal and small. And I was like, yeah, girl, same. And what's annoying is that I totally ignored my wisdom around this because I mean, I used to work in an emergency room. Like, I know that this required wound care, but I also was hearing everybody say, oh, it's so small. Like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Oh, you're going to heal right away. Oh, you shouldn't bandage it up. Why are you bandaging it up? Like, you should totally let it just breathe. And so I'm like, am I making a big deal? I am known to be a bit of a hypochondriac. I just kind of ignored my own knowledge around this stuff and was like, okay, this is what they're telling me to do. Like, girl, I was so close to putting turmeric in that shit because that's what some homeboy told me to do in India. Glad I didn't do that. But honestly, at this point, I'm like, could have saved my fucking foot. My foot's fine. She said, let's get you on antibiotics. Let's do some wound care. She tried taking off that layer of slow and it just like wouldn't come off. And I was like, fuck. Okay. So she's like, let's put some of this stuff on there. Hopefully it'll loosen up the slow and then come back and we'll try again. So I come back 2 days later. She tries to get that shit out. She manages to get a top layer out, but she's not able to get the bottom layer out. It's fucking stuck onto my fucking skin. So she's like, okay, we'll keep taking your antibiotics. Put some more of this wound care stuff, and then next time you come, we'll see how things go. 2 days later, I go back to the clinic. That layer is still there, but there's little spores of good skin, as she called it, good epidermis growing. So she believes that my wound is healing. She did more wound care and she said, come back in a couple days and we'll see how the wound is. Bitch. I've been Googling, let me tell you. One of the most common ways to get rid of slow is through surgery, debridement. I really try not to let my mind go there, really try not to think about the fact that I could potentially be a candidate for surgery. Just thinking about it Freaks me out. Yeah, gnarly wounds that get slow have to go through surgery. So I did ask her that, and she was like, "Well, let's just see what happens first, but that is an option. Things don't get better, then I can give you a referral to a surgeon." And I was like, "Bitch, I'm supposed to go to Japan on Wednesday." Yeah, it's been a motherfucking week here. I have been told that I need to keep the bandage dry and clean, so I really have not been able to go anywhere. I literally have not done anything in Indonesia outside of just eating their food. I've also hung out with my homestay family, and so that's been really nice. I haven't left this bedroom for longer than a couple hours because it's so hot here. It's like 90 degrees. My feet sweat. I've noticed whenever there's bandages on my feet, like they start to come off because of the sweat. If I was going to be out and about walking, I was going to risk removing the bandages. That did actually happen when I was in India. I was doing my own wound care and the bandage came off because my feet were sweating while I was walking. Because my feet sweat. It's just reality. So for the past week that I've been in Indonesia, I actually haven't seen much of Indonesia. I've been lounging, I've been reading. I finished Radical Acceptance. This is an amazing book and honestly could not have come at a better time in my life. Like I'm so glad that I was almost done with this book because I feel like I had a foundation on some of the things that I've been practicing a lot while I've been here. I also started The Art of Happiness, which is a book that I bought in India. It was recommended by the monk that my friend and I hung out with. I wanted to buy a Dalai Lama book while I was there, and this is one of the top ones that is recommended. Started reading this. This has been super helpful for my mental health. I've been doing a lot of YouTube. I've been trying to do yoga from bed, what I can do without having to strain my foot. There was a day where I was scrolling. I re-downloaded Twitter and had Instagram, and so I was scrolling and I'm like, nah, bitch. I was just reading about what's happening in Gaza and what's happening with terrorism attack in Russia and with the presidential election in the US. That was just not a good mental health day. And I was like, bruh, like you're already not doing so great because emotionally you are devastated that you're just stuck in your room while you're in a beautiful place like Indonesia and your foot might require surgery in a different country and you might actually have to go home early. Just not a good day for scrolling, let me tell you. So I deleted the apps. The admin gal that I told you about, her husband, they've got 3 kids. One is a baby, the other 2 are twins. Her mom and dad live here. They're always sitting outside, just chilling, making offerings, hanging out with the kids, taking care of the kids, watering the plants, like doing cute Indonesian things. And I've just been talking with them. Language is a bit of a barrier, but we've managed to develop a pretty good relationship. His dad has been taking me to the clinic, which was super helpful. I have all my meals in my patio. I'll try and film just a quick little tour around the homestay so you guys can see where I've been staying. I mean, it's a dream location, to be quite honest. I've got AC. I downloaded a food delivery app and I've really just have rested. That has been the extent of my time here. There's a part of me that's the universe just telling me this is what you should have done in India. I'm trying not to beat myself up about it because I feel like if I had done this in India, then maybe I would have enjoyed Indonesia. But I can't change the past. I can only change where I'm at right now. And right now I've decided like my body's asking for rest. My body is asking to heal and I need to give it good nutrition. I need to give it rest. I need to protect my mental health. I need to just move forward so that I can heal from this. And that really is something that I've been trying to work on this time. I've been writing a lot, reflecting a lot about my health, my thoughts around control, around patience, and around the unknown, around letting my mind wander into these horrible worst case scenarios in the future. And like, what happens if my wound doesn't heal? It's been really hard. It's been really hard to be alone out here. G has been super supportive as always through the phone. We talk every night, but it's not the same, right? I really am out here by myself. I'm having to fend for myself. I'm having to advocate for myself in a medical system that I am very unfamiliar with. Think about all of my families when I was a cultural navigator. The idea of going to another country and seeking medical care or having to seek medical care is the most daunting thing you can think of. I cannot stress enough just how stressful it is to have to navigate a new medical care system. I had to in India, then I went to the Tibetan hospital. Now I'm here in Indonesia. Now I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do when I go to Japan. If I am able to go to Japan, I might have to cut my trip short. There's been a lot that I've had to reflect on. There have been times where I can see myself avoiding because I'll go on YouTube or whatever. Like I try to avoid addressing it or facing it. Writing has been really helpful because I'm really able to sit down and just pour out how I feel about things. I'm not gonna lie, I've definitely cried. I've cried maybe every single day. My mind, I try to overpower it. I try to think positively. I try to come back to the present moment, but there are definitely moments where my mind wanders and I'm like, oh my God, what if my wound is just not going to get better, just like horrible worst case scenarios. I've really had to learn a lot and think about a lot, think about my health, think about the privilege that it is to have a healthy body where you have the freedom to do whatever you want. You wake up in the morning and you're grouchy and you're complaining. It is a gift to wake up in the morning and to get out of bed and to be able to go and do the things that you want to do. Like it is an absolute gift. I don't think I really understood just how much of a gift, how privileged we are, us able bodied people who are not dealing with an illness, just how privileged we are to be able to do that. YouTube, of course, been recommending a bunch of videos on cancer testimonies, and I've been watching those a lot because I've got this weird fascination with cancer. I always think like maybe someday I'll work in something related to cancer. The point is, I've been watching a lot of those videos that have really brought things into perspective for me. I don't want this injury, I want to minimize it, but I also don't want to make it seem bigger than it is. Like it really isn't that. When I compare it to cancer or cystic fibrosis, like it's not that serious, but it really does put things into perspective for you. I've had a lot of emotional days. I've had days where I think about all of the people that aren't able to just walk out of their homes and explore the world, and how we're not an inclusive environment at times for people with disabilities. I'm very much a person that believes that things come into your life for a reason. And what is this teaching me? What is this showing me? What do I need to be paying attention to? And just people with disabilities or illness is something that I feel like I need to be paying attention to. I think that when we're healthy and our bodies are able to do whatever, you don't have to worry about a thing. Even think about people that are suffering from illnesses or diseases in Gaza right now or any other war stricken country, just how scary that might be for people. Because at least I feel worst case scenario, I go back to the US and I get my medical care. That's not the reality for some people. I've really had to just let go of control, let go of what is, just trust that things are going to get better and just do my best. I'm eating every possible thing that I can that's going to help my skin heal and grow. This has also just taught me a lot about adapting and facing my fears. What happens when I'm uncomfortable? How do I move forward? Because life does not stop. Things don't stop. You have to keep moving forward. I still haven't told my family about my injury because I don't want to stress them out. But that also makes me feel like a phony because I haven't been telling people that are very important to me what is actually happening. I leave Indonesia tomorrow and I've got a doctor's appointment in the morning where they'll assess the wound to see what kind of direction they want to go. I've been trying to flex my foot to see if I feel pain. Today I don't feel as much pain, so I'm really hopeful that tomorrow at the doctor's appointment they're going to tell me that my wound is healing. I've already looked up some doctors in Japan that I'm going to go see just so that they can do some wound care. It's taught me a lot about patience. This experience, it's taught me that I really can't speed up the process sometimes and that I really just have to rest and allow my body to heal on its own and that I have to just take care of it. And instead of being angry at it because of what's happening, give it a little bit more compassion and care and love. Our bodies are so wonderful. Our skin suit, bro. Our skin is really out here protecting our motherfucking bones and muscles from fucking nasty shit out here. Shout out to our skin. I think about my expectations, and I think that's another big lesson that I've had where like I had all of these expectations around what I was going to do in Indonesia, how I was going to experience Indonesia. And to be quite honest, I didn't really have a plan. It's like I get there, I figure out what I want to do. I knew that Ubud was a good place for like culture and spirituality and yoga. Those were the things that I was going to look into when I got here. And so even though I didn't really have expectations around what I would be doing, I did have expectations around what it would be like to be out here. I really had to let go of those expectations and just adapt to my reality, which is being in here for a whole week, just being grateful that I'm alive and being grateful that I'm waking up in the morning. I still have all of my limbs, really just making peace with the fact that this really isn't how I was expecting my trip to go. I worked so hard to make this trip a possibility, to think that it could end early, to think that this is how it's gone. I'm just trying to be really grateful for what I do have. I have done a lot already. Girl, I literally have flown across the globe. By the end of this trip, I will have gone around the globe. And that to me is bonkers. So I'm really grateful for all of the experiences that I've had so far. I'm even grateful for this, to be quite honest. Like, thank you. Yes. And what's next? This, even though isn't what I expected or what I wanted out of this trip, you can learn from every experience that comes your way. I feel like I'm learning a lot from this. I'm grateful that I can still move my toes, and I'm grateful that I can still flex my ankle. I'm really hopeful. I'm really hopeful that my foot is going to do better. I knew better and I didn't listen. I just was trying to make the best of my India trip, and I was trying to go volunteer, and I was trying to go see the Dalai Lama temple, and I was doing all of these things. And I really wish that I would have listened to my body, the recommendation to rest. I wish I would have gotten travel insurance, let me tell you. If that's one thing that I learned from this, if you're going out of the country that you live in for a long amount of time, honestly, even short trip, if you can afford it, do it. I definitely had enough money in my savings account to get travel insurance, and I didn't because I never really have. But it takes an experience like this for you to realize that you don't need health insurance until you do. And I've been the kind of person that has always had health insurance. And so why would this experience make it any different for me? You know, if you're going to do anything like this, that's one motherfucking tip, bitch. Get traveler insurance. This trip has really taken a turn. I am really hoping for the best. Doctor's appointment tomorrow, and they'll tell me there if my wound is healing, or if it's not, then I have to still fly to Japan where I will meet up with G, and then we'll fly home together. I told him he could stay in Japan for longer if he wanted to. It's his birthday in a few days, and I feel so bad because I really, really hope that we don't have to go home. But if we do, we do. Like, we've had this conversation. He's so supportive, and he's just like, it's okay. Like, I've been in Japan enough. If we have to go home, we have to go home. Like, your health is my priority, and I'm really grateful for him. That's kind of where things stand right now. Really wish I had better news for you guys. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I really am grateful, even that this has happened. Grateful that this was how the universe told me to stop and pause and rest. Really reflected a lot. I mean, bitch, it's eclipse season. I'm a Libra rising. The eclipse is in Libra, bitch. Like, things are happening, things are a brewing. Things are evolving, and I am processing a ton of shit. Hopefully, the next time I film, I will be filming from Japan. But if not, it's okay. That is life. I'm so cute. I've been writing a lot. Been like doing words of affirmation to help me not go down spirals. Like, honestly, but then I leave my notebook out when I'm just chilling in the room, and it's been nice to have these little messages just laying around. But anyway, things just happen sometimes, and you have to adapt. And it really is about how you accept everything happens for a reason. I'm going to be okay. If my wound isn't healing, then I go back to the US. That's worst case scenario. It's still not the worst case in the world. There are very many people that are facing much worse. I'm just grateful for my life, grateful for my body, and grateful for the opportunity to get to experience all of this alone, bitch. Like, it's okay. It's funny. Again, I feel like I fucking manifested this. Before I came on this trip, I was like, I want to be uncomfortable. I want to grow. I want to learn all this bullshit. Like, bitch, here we go. Here it is on a fucking platter. Cometelo. Thank you for watching my journey. Let me know if you want to see anything else in these videos. See you. I don't even know where I'll see you next. See you next time. Bye.
Igual